Yes, she is. She joined the Jamaica Constabulary Force as a teenager and has moved up the ranks over her 33-year career. She recently received a Medal of Honor for her years of service at the National Honors and Awards Ceremony. Our guest now, she doesn't have the S on her chest, she has the crest on her chest, is head of the communications unit at the JCF SSP, Stephanie Lindsay. Morning!
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Oh my God.
How are you?
I'm elated.
Congratulations first.
Thank you very much.
Obviously well deserved. How did it make you feel when you found out that you were going to get this award?
I felt very good because when I got the letter from the Office of the Prime Minister that I was selected as one of the recipients this year, it felt really, really good. And then it became very surreal when I was actually at King's House on Monday.
Yeah. What does something like this mean to you, Stephanie? Because, I mean, you get up every day and do this job. It's such a big part of you. And to be recognized with a Medal of Honor, what does that mean to you?
Well, for me personally, it's an indication that if you work hard and you continue to work, even not expecting anything, that somebody will recognize what you do and at some point reward you. So it also means to me that it signals to other young girls who want to have a career, not just in the JCF, but something that you're willing to commit a lifetime to.
Wow.
And if you're very passionate about it and give it your best shot, then at some point you'll be recognized.
When did you know, I was going to say think, but when did you know that you wanted to be a police officer and why?
I knew I wanted to be a police officer from high school. I was inspired by an officer that came to the school to do some presentation, and he looked very smart in the uniform and looked very well. And even though majority of my family felt I would become an educator, which I eventually became, but I just knew then and there that I wanted to be a police officer. Wasn't sure when. How I got in was really interesting.
How? Because this says you're serving from being a teenager.
Straight out of high school. It's been the job for a lifetime. So I actually accompanied a friend of mine who wanted to do the police test. I'm from country, Moko in Clarendon, so that's far. So we wanted to get to Kingston, so I accompanied her and another person to do the test. And when we were there, the person who was administering the test said, "Why aren't you doing the test as well?" So I said, "Well, I didn't come prepared." So he said, "Do you have your ID, your birth certificate?" And I had my passport with me. So he said, "Okay, in lieu of your birth certificate, you can use a passport," and did the test. Ironically, I did the test and was successful.
Them never passed?
Not at that point. So it's as if that was my day.
Yeah.
And then I just graduated from school, so I wasn't even sure that I was ready to take on such a responsibility. But it was at a time when the Jamaica Constabulary Force was short on female officers, and they were fast-tracking and recruiting a number of officers. So there was a batch before me that was all female, and then my batch in 1990 was a batch that had about 60% females. So it was very timely. Yeah. That's how it all started.
How did your family feel? I mean, police work is not an easy work. Police work is a dangerous work. Maybe it wasn't as dangerous back then as it is now. But how did the family feel when they said, "Well, we'll turn police"?
It was mixed. So like my mother, she myself and my siblings always do what is it that you want to do. But it was also a little scary for them because it happened at a time when a female officer was brutally murdered.
Wow.
She was heading from work and she was on a public transport, and it was very tragic. So that was a fear factor for my family. But at the same time, I'm the first person in my family to become a police officer. So it was, you go and do it. They know that once I set my mind to something, I was going to do a good job at it. So it was always the support that was necessary.
Boy, you know what? The training is one thing. The training not easy. And then after training, it's now realizing, oh my gosh, I'm being placed to serve. What was that experience like for you the first time?
So the first part of it was scary. It was my first time being away from home.
Yeah.
And then you went into an environment with 160 odd people that you have never met in your entire life. Training for me was very difficult but manageable. I think I had youth in my favor. So I was among the youngest recruits. There were 2 of us that were just 19 going to 20. So youth was in my favor. So, and I've always been involved in some physical activities during school. So it wasn't that difficult, but it was still very challenging. And then I trained in Cobbler. There was a training facility in Cobbler, Manchester, and it was cold. And there was 5 o'clock morning in shorts and T-shirts, and you're trembling. But I think it was part of building the resilience for my years of service in the JCF.
For want of a better phrase, you have come up through the ranks.
Yes.
How difficult has it been for you? How dangerous has it been for you over these years?
So in terms of danger, I don't know if it's fortunate. So I've not worked in many of the highly operational departments. So my first posting was at the Beat and Foot. Downtown was much different. We'd do the plazas, we'd do the community beat on foot, and I did that for 11 months. Then I went to work at personnel at the Commissioner's Office, Personnel Division, spent some time there. Then I went to Kingston Eastern, then to Area 4 Headquarters. Then I went to be a part of the team that formed the CCN back then when we revamped our communication department and built the CCN. I worked with James Forbes at the time, who became a great mentor for me. And that team went around, was at some point at Constant Spring. Then I went to St. Mary, came back to CCU, went to St. Andrews Central, came back to CCU, still there. Man now.
I don't think people understand that police officers, you go where you're placed.
Just where you're placed.
Like where there's a need, they say you have to go, and you have to leave friends, family, everybody. And
you just go without a murmur.
Yeah, you have to go. 33 years, when you look back at it, Stephanie, is there a moment that you would have said to yourself, you know, this is why I joined the force. This is a moment that makes me believe I did it right.
Many a moments. I think I've had many situations that I knew that I was in the right job. I mean, I've spent a lot of time at during my time at Constant Spring as a community safety officer, and just the ability to go into some inner city communities like Grantspen, Andre Lane, Parkland in some tough times, and to really connect with the people and work with the people, especially those young persons that we're able to recruit who would not want to be associated with police and became police youth club members and then police officers, because you make a difference. I believe that my ability to impact people that I've done in many ways and throughout my career, I never lost that touch with the common people. I'll go places and I'll see some people come up and say, you remember me from so you impacted me, whether it was through school, whether it was through the program. I've made personal sacrifices, because if I go into a community and I see one person, I've sponsored kids, lunch money, charity, and in the latter years now, I've really been a champion for Special Olympics. Jamaica, I sit on the board. It's a great passion project. I lead the region in terms of getting law enforcement officers to raise funds and create awareness. And I just love working with those people with special needs.
Final question, you're a mom.
Yes.
How tough is that to balance, and how tough is that? Well, I don't know if it's tough on the kids, because they must see you as a super mom, but how tough is that?
It's tough, but I think people know me, I'm big on family. So whatever I do, my family is my priority. So I have 3 kids and my extended family. And it's a support that you get from them. And I will say, because it's a tough job, and as a female in a male-dominated organization, you better be prepared to work twice or 3 times as hard. If you really want to go places, you have to push. But my kids have been part of the journey. There were days when, in my younger years, I'm at work, they're in my car. I get up and I take them to work, but they appreciated it and they benefited from it. I think it gives them an opportunity not to feel entitled, but to recognize that even when you're achieving, it doesn't happen without hard work and dedication.
I'm impressed with you, ma'am.
Yes.
I thank you so much for your service. And congratulations again. It's
a big deal.
The medals.
It is a big
It's a huge deal. Congrats again, ma'am. Stay safe.
Thank you very much.
Yep. And again, thank you for your service. head of the communications unit at the Jamaica Constabulary Force, Senior Superintendent Stephanie Lindsay. News in 5, second edition, comes up after this. Stay with us, please. Soon come.